place, right time, but I definitely wasn't in the right mind state. What part of being... How much vulnerability do you have to put into a relationship? I think that's interesting because people talk about, oh, you have to be vulnerable. What does that mean, though? Because, like I said, you've been in one for a while. What does it mean for y'all when it becomes being vulnerable to each other?
Well, you could say you do hear that a lot, but at the same time, it's like
you don't have to be.
You don't have to necessarily be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because, well, I'm not saying that I'm not, and I'm not saying that she's not either. Because I mean, there's some times where you have a soft spot for that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it can range from little decisions to big decisions. You know what I mean? It's like, well, do you want to go to Chick-fil-A? You want to go to Popeyes? You know what I mean? Or like
Popeyes every time.
Sir. Or do you want to get married or do you not? You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
no.
If, like I said, we talk about it together. So if she was vulnerable or if I was, and she was like, well, yeah, let's get married. You know what I mean? Let's rush it. Stuff like this. And I'm being vulnerable. I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if that's not what you want, then you should openly express your mind in a relationship. Because like I said, or like you said, being vulnerable can play a big part of why your relationship don't work. You know what I mean? So there's some sense of vulnerability in a relationship, but there's a certain point to where it stops. It needs to stop. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you can become submissive to that person. Yeah. You know? Because if that person wants this and that person wants it their way or no way, you know what I mean? That's not that's a toxic relationship. Yeah. Because you never get you never get to express yourself or your mind freely because you're always scared or self-conscious of what that person may want or yourself. You know what I mean?
And and you said it. I experienced it firsthand. You get into a place where you're like, well, I can't be myself because this person doesn't like who I am as a person. Yeah. And that became pretty scary for me because, as most of y'all know, and I've said it on this podcast many times, I am pretty narcissistic. Not in the worst way you'd imagine, but like I like who I am as a person. I like expressing myself a lot. And so when having that being taken away from me by another person broke me down pretty hard. It was a rough little moment. But I took the time afterwards to look back and be like, you know what? I've got to be stronger as a person after that. Yeah. Because like you said, if you're not expressing yourself and your opinions in it, then you're just in a toxic relationship where one person just owns everything.
For sure.
Love is a crazy thing though. Yeah. And I'm happy for you. You've set your dates and your plans for the future. And I'm excited for you. Thanks. Because like I said, we've been friends for a long time. We grew up together for the most part, second half of our lives. Yeah. Or so far anyways. And, we both graduate this year. And, having a plan is good. Yeah. I think, and, oh man, there's so many ways to be successful nowadays that I think people just lack a plan. Yeah. I think, because, like, it's very easy to become an entrepreneur these days. Quote unquote. Yeah. But it's like, I feel like, and like I said, I can never do it. It's just not me. But I think for those, it seems like one of those things where you'd have to be pretty committed. Because if you're not committed, you're probably going to fail and hit a wall. But I mean, having a plan for you is a big thing, and having a plan for me is a big thing. And we're pretty similar in the way we think. Yeah. We've had some pretty deep conversations over the past past week. Having a plan, and then, what was a big one? Crap. Can't remember it. I forgot. I thought I remember. I'll probably remember later on. But it was, we enjoy being around each other a lot because we think of the same way. And we both have the same, not goals, but the same type of determination towards them. For sure. The way we both try it and get to them. And, Like, so I think that part of that is the who you surround yourself with.
Oh,
because I doubt if if me and you weren't as good friends as we were, I don't think I'd be the same way I am now.
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same thing. You know what I mean? That's like, I know we already touched on this topic, but you could only be as good as the people that surround you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're out there being bums, guess what? You're gonna be a bum too. You know what I mean?
It happens.
That's just bottom line.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with successful people, then chances are you're gonna be a successful person because you have nothing but successful people around you. That's gonna drive you to become successful. You know.
But at the same time, you have to be accepting of those people, because if you're not willing to work yourself, just being around them isn't gonna do enough for you.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, you're right.
You're a very determined guy, but if I'm not willing to look at you and say, you know what, that's the type of life I want to live, then it's not gonna do anything for me.
Yeah.
In that case, you're just a better person than I am, and if anything, I'm probably bringing you down. You know?
Yeah.
Man, and you know, this is why I like having this podcast. We get to talk about things like this, and we get to have people on. You know?
Yeah.
Talk about situations, and a lot of things that normally people wouldn't get to hear. There's a lot of conversation in this world that a lot of people don't get to hear, but I think they need to. Yeah. So conversations like these, I think, are important for everyone in the world to hear. Sorry. Frankly, I mean, technically we can't touch everybody, but I mean, for the few people that do listen, you know, I think this does something for them.
Yeah, share some knowledge.
Yeah. But you know, at the same time, we're nothing grown past of our age as well, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Me and you're big shoe guys. Me and you both. You know, and that's honestly, I'd like to say that's just the kid in us. We have this thing we like.
We're forever gonna like.
Yeah, we're probably forever gonna like. And you know, I've got it. You know, like I said, I probably have more problem, but then again, I also have more access.
Yeah.
But it's nothing out of the ordinary. And honestly, I'm more happy that I found this little shoe obsession in myself, because I now know it's something that I like about myself. There's something I look at and I can say I like it, and I know there's a reason behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely understand.
I remember now. It was a talk about back in earlier, like 2000s is when I heard it most, when people would use the phrase shallow.
Oh,
you remember that one? Yeah, all right.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, well, you know, we can go over this one again because this is a good one. So basically how the conversation went is I had said that, you know, calling someone shallow isn't a term you hear so often anymore. And my own reasoning behind it is because I think that today there are a lot of shallow people in the world.
Yeah, most people are.
And you can see it. Chances are I can look at somebody. I'm not saying this goes for everyone, but chances are you can look at someone and tell who they are as a person, and you'd probably be spot on.
For sure.
Because they're now with social media. I think social media probably plays roles in this too.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody can put themselves out there so much that you know pretty much everything about them.
Yeah.
Therefore, making them shallow. Now, you especially, you hardly post anything anywhere, and I think it's amazing because sometimes I find it hard for me to keep quiet. But you do a really great job of just keeping your mouth shut about anything you do. And I think that's amazing. And part of that, and then that leads for when people to talk to you, there's a lot to unpack in you.
Yeah.
There's a lot I found out over this past week, just, you know, living with you for about a week, and, you know, us going to Lubbock, and just hanging out. There's a lot I learned. But, like, nowadays, like I said, there are a lot of people that are just shallow people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I just choose not to express myself over social media at all because it comes to the old saying is minding your business. You know what I mean? I don't want to put my business out there no matter what it is. Did I go through a time in life when I was way younger that I did that because everybody else did? Yes. You know what I mean? But now that I've grown up, I'm not saying I'm grown all the way, but now that I'm grown up, I don't do that. It's because, like I said, there's always people watching you out there. You know what I mean? Like, even it ranges from opposition to the people that love and care about you. You know what I mean? It's if them people really loved and care about you like they say they did, then they'd come to you without you having to put yourself out there. You know, I'm sad, I'm this and that.
Yeah.
They'd come to you and check on you. You know what I mean? It's like, why do I have to be shallow in order for you to check on how I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. It's like I said, the opposition.
That was actually really well said. Repeat that again one more time about how you should not be shallow for people to check up on you, because that's actually really true. Because you do see a lot of people on social media sometimes exposing how they actually feel, and to some point you do sympathize. And we read the story about oh man, I don't remember the Georgia Tech player, and how he committed Georgia Tech, and sadly he had committed suicide. He had jumped in front of a train, but at the same time, the way he looked for help was more unconventional than probably you'd see it now, because he had signs.
Yeah.
He had gone to his family, and his family wasn't able to recognize it. And maybe, and when you read the article, it does seem a little more complex of a situation. But sometimes you do see people exposing their feelings to social media. Sometimes you have to wonder if this person is looking for help or attention. And and part of that is really sad, because like I said, you do have people that are actually looking for help. But then, like I said, those who are looking for attention are taking away from those that do actually need help.
Yeah.
And like I said, and part of it's being shallow. Some people are doing for the attention, for them to check up. I've had a few people tell me this, that me and you don't have to talk all the time. Me and you have gone months without talking. But I know that on this trip, all I had to do was text you and ask you, can you pick me up from the airport? And you were there.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, especially out there in California, a lot of people don't understand that concept of like, oh, you don't have to text this person all the time. You don't even have to, like I said, we went months for a while without talking to each other. Like, no contact whatsoever. But I still knew you were there for me.
Yeah, for sure. And vice versa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
that comes back to the topic of who you surround yourself with, you know what I mean? I know me and you is gonna stay solid no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, we could every brothers fight, like you hear it all the time, you know what I mean? And that's what I consider us to be, is family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said,
you're
my people.
Yeah, I mean, you let me live with you for about a week. Your family took care of me as well.
Yeah.
And that's more than I could ask for.
Yeah.
And like I said, and to those people that said, "Oh, well, he's not your real friend because y'all don't talk." It's not true. You can go probably years, because actually I've gone 7 years without talking to a friend that I used to know when I was younger, and she knows who she is. But when you connect with that person, it's there. That connection's there.
It's instant.
The only way you wouldn't be able to pick up on the same page is if that person had probably done you wrong, or y'all were never really that close.
Yeah, that's the truth. You know what I mean? It's because
me and you have stayed pretty true to each other.
No, all of it.
Yeah, we've always been there. When you said you're going through a hard time, you let me know. Yeah. And I told you, what, if there's anything I can do for you, I got you.
Yeah, and like I said, that's just staying solid with each other no matter what. You know what I mean? That's a big thing now. It's like, some people, they post on social media. It's like, well, I'm gonna stay solid no matter what, or you know what I mean? Or I'm a, like the new year, I'm gonna work on myself and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, a person can only work on themselves so much, because at the end of the day, you're telling yourself what you think is best for you. Some people know what's best for you, and if you don't have them kind of people in your life, then you could at the end of the day, you could be not as successful as you could have been, because you choose not to associate yourself with people at all. You know what I mean? And like I said, you could even say that's being shallow as well. It's like thinking that, I don't need nobody else, stuff like this, Yeah. Because, some people are like that. Yeah. And some people can be successful like that, but not everybody's made the same. Like, the people that you see being successful, being alone and stuff, those people made it on their own way, and now you're just trying to be like them. You know what I mean? Because if you don't pave your own path and make your own way, you're just a follower at the end of the day. Like I said, I choose not to be like that. Yeah. And you can even say having role models is, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not good at the same time.
It depends on what you see in the role model, though. Yeah. Give me probably like one of your top role models. I'm not gonna say like number one, but anyone.
I would say our friend that lives in Ann's dad. You know what I mean?
All right, yeah.
It's because how he chooses to raise his kids and how close, tight knit of a family they are, and what he's